Hello and welcome to Secrets of Organ Playing podcast.
This is a show dedicated to helping you become a better organist.
We're your hosts, Vidas Pinkevičius.
And Aušra Motuzaitė Pinkevičienė.
We have over 25 years of experience of playing the organ.
And we've been teaching thousands of organists online from 89 countries since 2011.
So now let's jump in and get started with the podcast for today.
We hope you'll enjoy it.
Hi guys, this is Vidas.
And Aušra.
Let's start episode 732 of Secrets of Organ Playing podcast. This question was sent by Rien, and he writes, maybe you could answer this question in a podcast referring to Benas. With some pieces you feel while practicing that everything comes together, and if you are there, you stay there. Even if you don't play the piece for a while, it still flows, maybe with some light practice out of your hands in the right way, while other pieces don't seem to stick. What's the reason? Not enough practice, wrong practice routines, or just a mismatch between the piece and performer? And Benas answers, hi Rien, that's a very interesting topic you've touched upon. Yes, I think some pieces are just inherently mismatched with the performer. I've had quite a few when I was learning piano in music school, but after a while I tried revisiting them and often found that the issue was the skill level required to play as well as understand the piece. But some of them just can't seem to be done right no matter how hard you try, yet they flow in other performance hands and feet beautifully. Maybe they could offer insight into how they perceive the piece. It surely would be interesting to know all the factors that go into matching the performer and the piece of music. To which Rien answers, it would be nice if Aušra and Vidas make a podcast over it. I myself struggle with toccatas. My brain seems to have troubles with repeating patterns and with pieces with lots of accidentals. That's the reason I still haven't published Prière de Notre Dame by Bellman. There are lots of accidentals in it, so I prefer a piece written in 5 flats over a piece in F full with accidentals. But why? I think that's interesting. So Aušra, Rien was reacting to our recent podcast conversation about playing trio sonatas, and that was the question that Benas submitted earlier, how he is scared to play more trio sonatas, remember?
Yes, I remember.
And that was a
Yes.
good discussion
Yes.
out of this episode.
Okay, now while reading all this, listening to what you were reading, sometimes I wanted to cry, sometimes I wanted to laugh, and sometimes I wanted to shout.
Let's recap and let's explain what are you thinking about.
Yeah, let me talk first of all about those accidentals. Well, I think that many people are scared of accidentals. Remember our friend from Sweden who was performing that enormous big piece with a choir by Latvian composer. And he showed our partitura and we had to follow, and the piece lasted like forever, and he would cry, oh look, there are like 5 crosses and 6 crosses. At the beginning I could not understand what he means by crosses, and later I understood that he calls that sharps, and that he is terrified, although he performed the entire piece already.
It might be translation, literal translation from German.
Could be, yes.
I'm not sure, but I've heard it before.
But anyway, I think all this, because people, avoid accidentals, there could be 2 reasons. Either we are really bad at music theory, or another thing that it's simply the mental block. Because believe, if you know music theory really well, it does not matter if you play in C major or in C sharp major. All keys are exactly the same. We can feel differently for your fingers because, of course, I would say that the C major key is the most uncomfortable for the hand because the more accidentals you get, the easier it gets for the arm and for your hand.
Until certain extent.
Yes, until certain extent.
It's like playing pedal scales in C major, not as comfortable as D major.
Yes. And for example, when I'm playing in Aula Parva, I just pray that piece would have more accidentals in the pedal because it's much easier to play, accidentals on the pedal board than, the lower keys. So it's all, just the way of how you come up to the piece and what you say to yourself. And in general, like we talked about piece, how we came back to the piece after years, and revisiting it and how it felt much better or it still felt worse. In general, I think that many of things for musicians depends on the mental state and how can you put together things in your brain. Because if you see that this piece is, not right for you, if it's too difficult for you, it has too many sharps or flats, then of course you put like a mental block for yourself and you will not overcome it.
Yes, and Rien asked me how I personally look at pieces with lots of accidentals and some dissonant music, right? Abstract music, right? Definitely, it's much more difficult than tonal music for me to play. Also, I'm not a Superman, but I look at it as a professional. If that's the piece that I have to play, like somebody assign it to me, or if I chose it to play because I like the piece, not necessarily because I think it's easy, but I like it and I want to play it, I will find a way to master it one way or another. Maybe it will not be as fast as the other music that I usually play. Maybe not as easy. Maybe it will require some special learning techniques and tricks. But I think the music is most important. If you like it, you will find a way to persevere.
And another thing what I know for sure that if you will not challenge yourself, whatever kind of challenge you will choose, either to play trio or to play a piece with many accidentals or to play, let's say, toccata, as Rien, said, with repeating patterns. By the way, Rien, I hate repeating patterns too. They hurt my hands and sort of, yes. So I see what you mean. But, if you want to do that, you will never overcome yourself and you will never be comfortable with, because you cannot be comfortable with playing with many accidentals if you will not try. So maybe I would suggest for Ian, maybe do the challenge for yourself over the summer. Maybe every week or every day when you're practicing a new piece, add one more accidental.
But that goes against Rin's attitude towards playing, because for him, he said, is music, organ playing is a relaxation.
Then you
after a stressful job, he gets home and gets this relaxing time on the organ. He can play and record. So if we're talking about really practicing and working out on the organ bench, that's like another stressful routine for him. I don't know if he's up to it.
Well, that way it seems to me like a, hopeless business. You cannot, overcome something if you won't do it and if you won't challenge yourself.
I think it's more important to to think about your goals. What would you like to achieve in organ playing in 3 or 6 months or 1 year or 5 years from now? Do you want to master all 6 trio sonatas? Maybe like Benas wanted?
Yes, but
Or
I'm not looking at such difficult pieces as
yeah,
trio sonatas, but let's say the Prière
Prière, it's not very
de
difficult
Notre
piece.
Dame, yes, and definitely it's worth, to learn all those accidentals, because it's a beautiful piece.
But it requires, of course, sort of attitude to be comfortable with uncomfortable, with being comfortable on the bench. That's the thing. When you're practicing Pilates in the morning, Osha, do you always feel relaxed and easy?
No,
No,
definitely
you
not.
sweat. You sweat,
Yes.
and you get strenuous exercise, and sometimes you want even to quit, probably in the middle, or not.
No, when
You,
I start, I never want to quit, but I know that many friends of mine look at me like I'm insane, that like something is wrong with me.
maybe they don't have this goal that you do.
Well, but if you know that it's good for you and it helps for you, so why don't you do it?
Well, yeah, that requires a shift in attitude. Why are you practicing organ in general, right? To have a good time? Sure, that's a good goal. But then you will be at the same level in 5 years that you are now. You will look at your, I don't know, your portfolio of pieces that you mastered before, 5 years before, right? If we are in the future, if we are 5 years from now. And the same pieces will be right now that you're playing, or similar pieces that you're playing. I think it's good to play easy pieces. I'm not against easy pieces at all. I create easy pieces also. But what our friend James Flores discovered is a very nice system. I want to recapitulate it and repeat it and focus on it a little bit. Level 1 piece, level 2 piece, and level 3 piece. And you have to constantly be learning 3 pieces at least in your repertoire all the time. Level 1 piece is the piece that you can sight read, basically, or with minimal practice perform after a few tries. That's basically a piece you can do in one day. Level 2 piece is a piece that you need a week or a few weeks to do. So it's considerably more. Usually it's like a longer piece and maybe even more advanced piece, but not as advanced as the level 3 piece. Level 3 piece requires at least 1 month or several months, like many concert pieces are. So if you constantly work on 3 pieces at the same time, you have also a piece for relaxation, like level 1, a little more difficult piece for a short-term goal, a week or two from now, level 2, and longer-term goal, a month or two from now, level 3. What do you say, Osha? Is this?
Yes, that's a very excellent approach. I think it's a very good way to approach the organ and, to set yourself goals. Because if you want to challenge yourself, you want advance. That's it.
Yes, and it's nothing wrong with people who don't want to advance.
Of course, but
We have to
yes.
be open-minded about everybody, right?
Yes, because you will just play for yourself, and maybe a specific audience of yours. Because I could not listen to meditations, all the time, or to loud and fast pieces all the time. I need, variety.
Mm-hmm.
And I myself try to play various music because if you will just stick to one style that suits you, you will always just stay an amateur.
And amateur in a good way, yes, because, for example, Rien, who has a question like this, why he is struggling more with a piece with lots of accidentals than a piece written with 5 flats. It's, of course, probably everyone is different, but I think if he adapted such an approach that we are suggesting, always pushing a little bit yourself, just a little bit, then this piece with 5 flats will become easier, as easy as 4 flats, as easy as 3, 2 and 1 flat eventually, and these accidentals won't bother him anymore. And the same is with Benas. Of course, some pieces don't seem to stick, right, to the hands right now, but that's temporary state. I think in 2 months or 3 months from now, if Benas practices more difficult music and comes back to an older piece, he might discover something fresh about this piece and not be scared anymore.
Yes, very true in what you are saying, but also I would like to contradict you a little bit because, like, each performer has its own character and its own ability level and its own like physicality. Some of us are tall and skinny, and some like short and fat and whatever. Some have long fingers and some have short fingers, and some can reach octave, some can reach far beyond the octave. So some of us have like phlegmatic characters, some are melancholics, yes, and other are like really funny all the time. And I guess each of us have its own type of music that suits us better than another type. So that might be a part of that thing why one piece sticks and another don't. Of course, the technical ability is very important, but there are other sides of it as well.
So in Rien's case, if he likes to play cantabiles, right, he would always play only cantabiles. He always would play adagios and relaxing pieces, if that was his personality issue, right? But we can see on his YouTube channel he has all kinds of music, even loud and fast music when it's technically manageable. So I would say it's just technicality he has to overcome or not, and that's it.
Yes, most of time the problem sleeps in our technical skills.
And the mind, of course, dictates how we are overcoming those technical skills. Overcoming or not, mind, of course, lets us set goals and and overcome those challenges.
Yes, if it's worth, overcoming, because let's see, I think each of us has its own, demons. Like for me, it's really hard to play like thick texture because it really hurts my hands. So I'm trying not to overuse them because if you will push yourself into a wrong direction, you might not be able to play one day at all.
I also had similar situation with Schumann recently. I wanted to record all pieces by Schumann, Robert Schumann, on the organ, and I recorded a few. And after I played a few more, I started noticing my hands hurt, and then you said stop, right? When I told you this, you said stop playing Schumann. Look what happened to him, right?
Yes, he hurt himself, his hands, so definitely not the easiest composer to play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, look at your physique first and see what works for you. And if your hands and feet allow you, then it's only your mind which is stopping you.
Yes, and I often feel how nice that I'm not in school anymore and I can play whatever I want. It's really nice. And nobody can tell you what to play and what not to play.
And beautiful beautiful thing about organ repertoire or organ music in general, I'm now including improvisation too, and him playing, is that you will never run out of music to play, because we have 7 centuries of organ music written and surviving repertoire to look at, and to everyone's tastes, to everyone's technical abilities, right? If you have a certain kind of organ accessible to you, you can learn that kind of repertoire. If you don't have that organ, you learn another repertoire. It's all up to you, and it's such a vast amount of choices that it's like reading books. You will never run out of books to read.
Sure, and I'm thinking that at some point I will play only hymns on the organ because I'm putting so much effort into my YouTube channel over a few years. And my most popular video is hymn Abide With Me, which I'm playing on our Henrietta, on our house street organ. Simply without pedals, with my 2 hands, and it's still the most popular of my videos. So why to struggle and to play big pieces by J.S. Bach or Cesar Frank and other great composers when you can just open your hymnal and play a hymn?
It's probably not necessarily revealing to the video itself, because it's popular due to some certain algorithm that YouTube created, and maybe it resonated to a certain audience, right? And maybe your other videos didn't catch that algorithm for some reason, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't play music that you love.
Yes, but it's easy to play hymns, you don't need any preparation.
And of course, you can compose music based on those hymns too.
Yes, that's what I'm doing.
Nice. So guys, this was a rather long conversation, but maybe it was helpful and shed some light on the matters that you are thinking about as well in your organ playing journey. And if you want to submit any other requests or questions that we could discuss over the podcast one day, please do so. We would be delighted to help you grow as an organist. This was Vidas.
And Usha.
And remember, when you practice,
Miracles happen.
This podcast is supported by Total Organist, the most comprehensive organ training program online.
It has hundreds of courses, coaching and practice materials for every area of organ playing, thousands of instructional videos and PDFs. You will not find more value anywhere else online.
Total Organist helps you to master any piece, perfect your technique, develop your sight reading skills, improvise or compose your own music, and much, much more.
Sign up and begin your training today at organduo.lt and click on Total Organist. And of course, you will get the first month free too. You can cancel anytime.
If you like our organ music, you can also support us on Buy Me a Coffee platform.
Find out more at buymeacoffee.com/organ.